But I'm about to go ahead and get started. It's been a while. Hey, I hope everybody's good. Let's see. Let me get everything set up. So we are painting today. It's been a while for those of you who have been following this painting. I know I have rescheduled this for a few times now. So we about to jump right in to this sunset with hot air balloons. It's a pretty quick one, but I'm just glad to see everybody. Well, not see you, but, you know, be here with you. Okay, so yeah, let me know as you come in. Tell me, hey, where you joining from? And I'm going to get us started. So first, I'm using a mixed media pad. A lot of people ask about these. However, for beginners, I recommend using actual canvas or canvas panels, but I use this because I paint a lot, and so it saves space. I got my cup of water. It's kind of muddy looking, but let's see. All right, I'm double checking. I see a little freezing. I'm hoping it pushes through. All right, so I got some water to paint with. I've already painted with it, which is why it's dirty. A couple different size brushes. It depends on your surface. So if you paint on something really big, then of course use bigger brushes. Since this is so small, I'm gonna use, oh, there goes my camera. Hold on. Since it is a smaller picture, y'all, this is crazy. I hope I don't have to postpone again. Okay, I'm really hoping it sticks with me now. Okay, maybe it's too hot. That's probably what it is. I got a couple small brushes I'm using. I got a 1 inch, ½ inch, and a smaller one. And let's see, paper towels, of course. Paint palette. I just flipped over this one palette I was painting with. I flip it over to the white side just so that you all can see me mix the colors. I didn't feel like grabbing a new one. Colors for this one, you can mix it up however you want to. So for that sunset look, I'm going to use some blue. So blue, I'm going to have some red. I'm going to just start squeezing them out so we can jump right in. Hey, as y'all come in, tell me, hey. If y'all notice anything odd with my picture or my sound, let me know because it's been acting up and I'm hoping that it sticks through. Let me rename myself because it's definitely saying that I'm Cam and I'm not. I named my camera that, but I'm Liz Brent for those who don't know me. Okay, so I'm gonna put some blue. Quick little lesson today. I'm gonna do a tiny bit of red and I'm using Liquitex acrylics paint. Let's see. And don't worry, I'm going to show you how to mix all these colors. We got some yellow. We got some black and white. Let me grab that. So white and then let's see, black paint. Getting that out. I hope everybody's doing good. I'm probably a little shiny because it's a mixture of my hair oil and also it being hot. So, yeah. Okay. Red, yellow, blue, black, white. Got it. Okay. And we're about to jump right in. So I'm going to move my stuff to the side. And if you don't have everything you need right now, don't worry because you'll get a chance to also do this later because I am going to save it. It'll take a while to post though, but I'll have it as a replay for those who missed it. And so let's see. All right. So got my colors. Got my paint brushes. First color I'm going to start with is blue. So I'm going to zoom in just a tiny bit and I'm really hoping my camera doesn't hate me and cut off from touching it. It's been acting crazy lately. All right. So first color we're going to start with is blue. And this one, like I said, is a quick one. And it's going to be something that we kind of let the colors blend as we overlap. So I'm going to take my largest brush and I'm going to dip in a little bit of water first. Wet it up. Paper towel to make sure it's not dripping wet. And I'm just pick up straight blue. I'm not going to mix it with anything. I'm just pick up a little bit. So I'm just going into the paint with my brush, filling it up. Make sure we got a good amount of paint in there. And I'm just paint across the top. Now, some people will rip out the page of these books. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I like to keep it in here for this purpose so you can see it right next to the original picture. So I'm going to dab off a little bit more, dip it in a little bit more water. Because I try to also use the wet brush to go into the paint to spread it better too. So we're not wasting paint. We don't want to use a whole bunch if we don't have to. Let me make sure I slow down my brush strokes because I have a habit of painting really fast. So I just want to make sure I slow down so you can see what's happening. But you just paint back and forth. Okay. And I'm not actually going to let these colors dry as I go. Okay. I'm just keep on going. And I'm not going to worry about cleaning my brush either. So now I've got the blue. And to get purple, we would really mix red and blue together. And so let's see. Hold on. I see my name. It's still not popping up right. Let me fix that for y'all. There we go. Okay. So then I'm going to take a little bit of red because red and blue makes purple. And I'm going to go right underneath this line and just start to blend it a little bit by overlapping where it is. Now, you see it's not really blended. It's looking dry. What I'm going to do is take that brush, dip in a little bit of water, and dab it on my paper towel. Okay. And then go over that with my wet brush. And now you see it's starting to blend and we're starting to see some purple, right? So that's what we want. I'm going to start taking that red down and just keep going back and forth over that. We're going to have some purple. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more red because I don't want it to look so thin. So, hey, everybody that's here, thanks again for joining in. Let me know what you up to. What's your name? Okay, so I'm going over that again. And I'll just go up to this a little bit more just because I want some more of that purple to show. So that red and that blue overlapping. Okay. And it may come out looking a little different from this, and that's okay. And yours may even be different in different colors or something, and that's okay too. All right, next color. We're going to do some yellow, and that's going to shift into like an orange. So again, I'm not cleaning my brush. Still using what I got. Taking some yellow. Going right at the edge of that line. Okay. And then right now you see it's like getting some staggered brush strokes and stuff. That means it's too dry. So I'm going to pick up some water. Okay. And bring that down. Bring that down into it. I'm going to pick up some more to drag it. And I'm going to also overlap this area a little bit too. So it looks a little bit more seamless. Give us that blended effect. Okay. I don't want it to look like it's too sharp of a change. Okay. Back and forth, back and forth. And mine, like these are drying really quick. Like this top is already dry. And that's just because I'm using mixed media paper. Of course, acrylic paints, they do dry fast already. But with this paper, they dry even faster, which is why I recommend for beginners to use canvas so that you don't have to deal with that like crazy fast drying with the paper. Okay, so I just went ahead without telling y'all. So now I just took some white paint because I want to have like a lighter yellow down here. So I took white and I went over the edge of this yellow back and forth. And we're going to bring that down. Put a little more yellow in it because I don't want it to fade too soon. Dip my brush in a little bit of water. Dab it on my paper towel. And we're using this wet brush to bring it down. Okay. All right, so I'm just looking up. It's always a good idea to look at your picture from a distance. So when I look down, I'm looking at my actual paper. But then I look up and I can look at my computer screen because it's a little further away. And that shows me how it looks to you all from a distance. And it also gives me a good view of it. Okay. I'm just going back and forth, getting rid of any white. This down here doesn't matter so much just because we're going to put black anyway. We'll put that on top. Okay. Then I'll just go over a couple areas up here where I got the white streaks. So let's see that blue. I could make a little darker. So I'm going to clean out my brush, stir it around in my water cup, dab it off. I'm going to pick up some blue. I'm just go over that again. Just back and forth. So don't be afraid to go into a second coat with your paints too. Like if something looks thin the first time, that's normal. Like it happens and that's what it's supposed to be. So don't worry about having to build up a couple coats of paint. So I got blue. And then I'm going to take a little bit more red because that red looks really thin too. Because like it's too much yellow now. So I'm going to add some more red. And go right on top of that. It's drying up. It's giving me that streaky look that we don't want. So I'm going to dip in a little bit of water. Back and forth. And I'm going to cover up this really bright line too that's still too light. So I'm going to get some more red and really focus on covering that up. So I'm going to streak over on top of that. And in case you're wondering about my brush strokes, the way I'm holding it, when I'm going back and forth, I'm holding the brush straight, vertically. And then when I start to draw a line, I'll turn it horizontal. Okay, so I turn it when I want to make a straighter line, and then I twist it flatter when I want to spread the paint. Okay, so get that red in there. And I mean, we're going to have some balloons in there too, so we don't have to be too picky with this background. I just want to make sure that any areas that are showing are covered well. And I like that little dark spot, so I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to take a little bit more red and drag it down just a tiny bit. And to here, to really bring some orange into this. So there we go. It's getting better now. It's darker. I feel like there's a lot more contrast now, and I love to do high contrast pictures. Okay, so a little more red into this yellow. Give us that orange. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna leave it alone. I think I'm gonna leave it, or am I? If you watch me paint and talk like this before, you know I get indecisive, especially when I paint in the moment and don't plan. Let's see. Okay. All right, I think I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that alone. Now we let it dry. And y'all, it's been so long since I've done this with you guys. Okay, so let's clean this out. I think the last time I did my paint lesson live might have been 2 months ago. So my bad, because I kept saying like, okay, I'm gonna do free paint lesson every month on live. I just got busy. Stuff kept coming up the day that I was supposed to. So I'm here today, and I hope y'all are painting with me. And if not, I hope you paint this later and send me a picture of it or post and comment on this picture. Okay, we're on this video. All right, so now we need to let this dry a little bit. It's not going to take long for mine just because it's paper. Because next we're going to start to map out our hot air balloons. Now, there's some tricks to doing these because with very like detailed stuff, it's tricky to use a thin brush when you don't have a steady hand, because I do not have a steady hand. Now, what I like to do is you can either use a pencil to draw out the shapes first and then fill it in with your paint brush, or you could even use a paint marker to draw it out, whichever one you're most comfortable with. If you think that, you know, the pencil will be less intimidating for you, you could do that. For me, I'm just kind of go with the flow and just draw it out. I'm gonna use this marker. And so once this is dry enough, I'm gonna go and sketch these out. And then I might even help myself. Yeah, I will. I'll help myself by also doing the trees. And you know what? I typically don't use a paintbrush or a paint marker for my trees. I use a brush for all of that, but I'm going to try something different because I haven't shown you all, you know, how I use the paint marker. So I think I'm going to do that today. All right, so once this is dry, I'm actually do all my trees because I struggled because I wasn't using a thin enough brush. Where's the brush I was using? It was too thick. So like it was this one. Let's see if I can get that to focus. It was this brush. So it wasn't thin enough. And it's like kind of furry. It's all kind of old and beat up. So it was getting too thick for what I wanted. And so, you know, it wasn't getting the clean lines and stuff. So some people call it cheating. I don't care. I'm going to be cheating today and do some thin lines with this paint marker, which will be a nice demo too. Okay, so I think this is dry enough now. So I'm going to go in and sketch this out. So first, I'm going to zoom my camera just a little more. Okay. I told y'all this is a quick one. It's a really quick painting today. But it's fun, the different things you could do with it. Okay. So first, I'm going to, it's just a balloon we're drawing. All right. It's a big oval shape. You can also pretend you're drawing a light bulb. So I'm using a marker, but again, you can use a pencil. So it looks like it's at the edge. And let's see. I'm going to start, I should start there, but I'm going to start here because technically that's not the edge. Okay. So I'm going to just do it here at the edge of the paper. So I'm going to draw an oval that comes in. Okay. And I'll probably mess up a little bit, and that's cool because then I can show you how I fix my little mess ups. That's not even, but that's okay. All right, so it's like a balloon, bubble, light bulb, something like that. All right, so we drew that. Then for the bottom of it, you just got two little lines. I'm going to draw a basket. So there's a line that comes across, and then angle in, and close the bottom. And this, I could even just shade it in because that's going to be our little basket. Okay. Then I'm going to space it over and put one over here too. So then I'll just bring it in. Again, I'm thinking of a light bulb or just a balloon as I draw it. Close it. One line, two lines. A little line across. And bring it in, bring it in. Okay. I'm shading my little basket. So this is a Posca, Uni Posca. Let me focus. Okay. All right, I'm hoping my camera focuses for y'all, but Uni Posca, I'll put it in the description too. And I get mine from Amazon. You can get them in all different colors and sizes. I have a bunch in black and white because I'm always needing to outline with black or white. So they come in handy so that you don't have to like sit and be shaking with your brush trying to get some good lines. Okay, so then I'm gonna put another one here. You can make as many or as few as you like. I'm getting smaller as we go down because it's supposed to look like these are in the distance. So curve, two lines across, and little basket. Okay. I feel like, I mean, they may look like that too, but I feel like over here I got a little fuzzy at the bottom and some of them just look like people with parachutes. So let's see if I can make them not look like that. All right, so bring it in and down. Okay. One line, two line, line across, little basket. Let's see how many more I want because we don't want an even number. That's something I learned in my art classes in college, is that keep it interesting. We want an uneven number. And we don't want them all lined up. We want it to have a little interest. And honestly, look, these little tiny ones, I can shade these now with black because I don't have to paint that later with a brush. I'm gonna do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, keep that number odd. Just make it interesting. Got our oval. Shade that in. Line, line. Cross. Little basket. All right, we got that. Okay, so next, I forgot to add my sun. We can add that after. So then for our trees, the first thing I'm gonna do is draw a line that curves. Okay, it's kind of like an arc that curves towards the bottom. I'm not gonna shade it in yet, but I'm gonna dip down and come up. Like pretend that you're drawing one of those ramps for skateboarding. I think that's what's called a ramp. Any skateboarders, let me know what it's actually called. So we're going to shade that in with black in a minute. All right, and then for the trees, we're going to start with, they're going to be lines we're going to draw. They're going to start from tall lines and get shorter and shorter as we go to the middle. Okay, and maybe I will show how to do this with a brush. I probably will do both. For those who don't have these markers, I don't want you to miss out. All right, so first I'll just do a straight line. And also you can do this with the Sharpie too. I have a bunch of Sharpies around me that I use. So Sharpies work well with acrylic paints when they're dry, or you can use a paint marker. Okay, so I'm just drawing some lines, going to get shorter and shorter. And actually I meant to start in the center because I like to make sure that my center ones are shortest and then it goes out. But we'll see how I do now that I'm already started. Okay. Maybe I'll put a couple little ones in the center just to get myself worked out. And then I'll fix it accordingly. So just making sure that these are about even. Okay. So then I can extend a little bit as I can. And then, yeah, that'll work out. That's good enough. I feel like I need more. So now I'm going to show how we can do this both with a marker and with, I can't talk today, y'all, marker and with a paintbrush. But first we're going to fill in our balloons, because I like to always work from top to bottom, because if we do this now and then we reaching over doing our balloons, you can easily put your arm in the paint, which I have red paint all over me. This is not dry blood, I promise. It's paint. But that's what I do. Like, I stick my arm and stuff. So we want to avoid that with our painting. So let's start at the top. Okay, so I'm going to grab my medium brush now, and I'm going to grab my water. So dip my brush in that water, dab it on a paper towel, and I'm going to use some black paint to fill in these balloons. Okay. Let's see. And my page is curling up just because that's what happens when these pages get wet. But once I let it dry, I can use something to flatten it out if it doesn't lay back down. Okay, so then we just take our time and fill this in. And also the page is lifting is why sometimes I'll just tape it down to the table with painter's tape. But I don't want to tear it out the book. So that's one. Now let's get these other ones. This one's so small, I could have just used my marker, but I'm going to take my time to fill that in. And fill this one in. Okay. And fill that one in. All right. I hope y'all are having a good day today. Doing something to make you smile. Oh, nice. I did all of them that fast. Okay, great. Now we can get into these trees, and then we'll go back for the highlights and stuff. So I'm going to show you two ways. I'm going to show you with the marker and with the brush. Let's see if I can find one of my good thin brushes, because this one I used before I did not like. And I just bought like 3 packs of brushes. But for some reason, of course, y'all probably see my hair jacked up on the side too. For some reason, I can't seem to find them. So I use this brush. Okay. Then I'm going to zoom in. Hope my camera agrees with me and doesn't cut off like it just did. Making sure it's focused. All right. Okay, so now let me show you. So the first one I'm going to start off with, I'll use the brush to show you the differences. Maybe I'll zoom just a little bit more so you can see it nice and close. Okay, let me get some more paint because mine is kind of dried up on my palette. All right, make sure I don't get paint all over my shirt to keep my apron on. Okay, so we got our paintbrush. A thin one, as thin as I can get it for right now until I find my others. So pick up some black paint, and I'm going to wipe off as much as possible. I'm also going to make sure it's really, really wet. That helps it spread lines better. So I'm going to wipe off any excess. Okay. And now the way that I typically do trees is that I make them have diagonal lines going down. So I'll curve it down. Just space it out. Oops. So I got too much water on my brush. It was starting to drip. So I'm going to dab it off with my paper towel. And see if this was thinner, I can get better thin lines. Okay. And I do the same thing over here. You can add a little curve to them. And then after you have that basic shape in there, you can just start to go in between to make it thicker. Okay. So that's one way to do it with the brush. Then of course we just get wider at the base of it. And then let me show you how it would look with the paint marker. So I'm gonna do this one. I'll go back to that one. That's so close, I want you to see it. So with the paint marker, again, I'm gonna do my best to angle down. It gives you a little more control. Okay. Angle down, kind of like if you were, doing eyelashes on a picture. And then you would just go back in between and fluff it out. But honestly, for trees like this, I do really like the brush because I feel like it gives me a fluffier look. And this is a little bit too uniform, the marker for the trees. So I'm just keep going with the brush. right, so let's pick up some more paint. Let me go to that one that I missed. Just fluffing it out. Dragging our brush down on an angle. So then it can look nice and thick. And that's what I'm just doing, back and forth. I'm just spreading them out, staggering them. Following the height that I have from the lines we drew. Bringing those out. And then don't forget the bottom is like that because we're going to, oops, I picked up yellow. We're going to fill that in with black paint too next. Fluffing it out. Same motions all the way across. Okay. So you got a little furry right there. But that's okay. I'm going to make it work. Then I'm going to bring it down over here. And you see I get a little bit loose as we go through it. You know, get a little furry, and that's cool. If I slow it down again, this is what it looks like. Just bringing these out. Okay. All right. So we got that. And now, while that dries, I can take my brush. Try not to pick up any more yellow. And then I'm going to fill it in at the bottom. And black paint. And then over here too. Filling that in. Oops. I'm getting it all on these other pages. Okay. Nice. All right. So now while that bottom part dries, we can work on the highlights on the balloon. So since it's a sunset down at the bottom. Ooh, I forgot all about the birds. Okay. Let's see. The birds are just like a little, this is the one part that everybody's like, wait, how do you do it? Okay. So the birds are just like drawing little check marks, kind of. So I'm just going to take it, and you can make a V, like you know how we used to draw when we were kids. Little V. And I usually do one end shorter. So I do a short part and then a long curve. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do here. So we do a couple little check marks with our black paint. You can also use a marker for this part. It'll be a lot easier. And you got a couple birds down there. All right. And then for the highlights on the balloons, because there is sunshine, we want there to be a highlight. So I'm going to take some white paint, mix it with a little bit of black to get us some gray for our highlight. And I'm going to start again top to bottom, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit to make sure you can see the whole thing. Okay. So first I'll do a line at the edge here to represent a highlight, and also in the basket because the sun is like it's going down right here. So I'm going to put that light there. Then on this side, so just think about where your light might be. The bottom of this one. Okay, a little bit of lines to represent a highlight there. And then these are tiny, but we could put a little bit there too. And this can have more of a highlight because they're the closest to the sunlight down there. So this one, yeah, we could even do more. We could even make this whole thing gray. Same thing here because it's so much in the sunlight. So these little ones can be more gray. Okay. And then Let me zoom out so to see the whole thing. I don't think there's anything else I want to add. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so I could make these birds a little darker, but honestly, let me show y'all something because I didn't even add the sun. I just made it really light down here. So we could add a curve of white down there. And I'm going to do it just to show you. But of course, I would have done it before the birds. But since the birds are so thin, I can paint over them later. So we can just add a curve for that sun. Okay, since I didn't before. And trust me, this is stuff I do all the time. Like I'll think of something and add it later, and that is perfectly fine. Just because you didn't put it in the beginning doesn't mean you can't add it. So I'll just touch up around it. And if you go over any of the trees by mistake, you can always touch those up after it's dry too. All right, so we got that. And then I think I'm gonna redo my birds with a black marker. So again, this is a paint marker, but you can also use a permanent marker, so a Sharpie or something when acrylic is dry to go on top. So what I can do is use this marker to touch up my outlines to make them nice and crisp, because sometimes they get a little fuzzy. Same thing here. Make them nice and clean. And then of course I can redraw my birds. This paint just dried up super fast. And we got our little sunset. And then I also use my marker all the time for my signature. And that's it. So we have a finished work of art. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Again, it's good to be back with y'all. I know I have been postponing doing this forever. I kind of want to touch this one up. So yeah, make sure that you all send me a picture of yours. So I would love to see what yours looks like. So you can comment on this video. You can message it to me, email me, whatever you like to do. All right, so I'm glad my camera cooperated so we can get this done. So I hope y'all have a good rest of the day. I'm about to go try to get some air. It is hot. So enjoy, everybody, and have a good rest of your day. Take care.